then when you watch Florida on film, how different are they without a guy like Keontae Johnson in the lineup, considering how high of a caliber player he is?
Yeah, he was one of the best players in our league going into the season. So obviously, number one, I'm just thankful and thank God that he's okay. When he collapsed, I mean, worst case scenarios were running through everybody's head, and it seems like he's going to be fine. So that's very good news for everybody, and most importantly, Keontae. But he's a great player, and I'm sure he'll be back in time. But he's a hell of a player. They're still a very good team. I mean, I watched their last couple games here, and their big kid Castleton had the best game of his career against Ole Miss the other night with 27 blocks and a double, over 20 points. I mean, he was really, really effective. Had a lot of huge plays down the stretch, and ones, old-fashioned and ones. He had two of them that were huge. And he's a really good player. Trey Mann's one of the best guards in our league. He's just incredibly talented. He's grown from a year ago. He's probably closer to 6'5" now. Plays the point, handles it, shoots it. Great athlete. Really hard to guard off the dribble. Very aggressive to score. Very good defensive player. He does it all. I mean, they've got some really talented kids, and they're a force to be reckoned with. Their guard play is so tough.
We'll swing it over to Paul Jones. Paul, go ahead.
Coach, I got a couple questions. Just first of all, how was the locker room after the disappointing loss to Texas A&M, and any update on JD?
Yeah, very disappointed. Everybody was disappointed and hurt. We had a great opportunity to get to 4-1. It didn't capitalize on it. Today we'll have a practice. Yesterday we did a walkthrough. We lifted, but we didn't do anything up and down yesterday, or really even tape, which I thought was important because I'm playing, some guys so many minutes. It would have been really hard to demand that and then get a good practice today and be ready for tomorrow's game. So we expect to have a good practice today and, really good preparation for this Florida team. In terms of JD was back with us yesterday and actually worked out a little bit. He'll practice some today, but won't be available for the game.
We'll swing it up to Columbus and John Sokoloff. John, go ahead.
How's it going, Ben?
Good.
So, I mean, kind of based off that question there, what is kind of like the mood of, even if you said it was just like a workout or walk through, what is kind of the mood of the practices been? You think, how eager are your guys to like get back out there?
Yeah, kids their age, they recover real well. I think we'll have a good focus in practice today. Obviously, the day after a disappointing loss, a late game, yesterday they were subdued, but they did a good job in the weight room. And we watched film from the game and tried to learn from, some of our mistakes and, grow from it and understand, our shortcomings and why we lost. We've got a great group. These kids are great kids and good leadership.
And a quick follow-up. You mentioned after the game on Wednesday about the press that was kind of giving you issues. How much have you kind of addressed that with them, and what are you all going to really have to do?
I really tried to put that on my shoulders. We should have been more aggressive looking to really attack it. And, we talked about that. We talked about it yesterday with them. And, that's something we'll do, moving forward. And we'll see you press tomorrow.
We'll swing it over to Fayetteville, Arkansas, and we'll go to Bob Holt. Bob, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good, Bob. How are you?
I'm good. You're looking good. You must be like the only guy in the U.S. that's not putting on weight during this pandemic. I know I'd put it on. Hey, I know this is obviously an abnormal year, hopefully 1 in a million, and with the pandemic, reducing crowds and the home court advantage, obviously what it normally would be. But SEC teams in conference games are 15-4 on the road. Does that surprise you a little bit? Just what do you think about the road experience and just how the road teams maybe have a better shot this year than usual?
Yeah, I think it's obvious because you don't have the same amount of noise and crowd support at home. And I'm surprised that the numbers are, I thought it'd be, a little more like 50-50. But, and I think it'll even out. I mean, I still think it's an advantage to be at home versus on the road. You didn't have to travel to get there. You're sleeping in your own bed the night before a game. You're used to the building more so than your opponent. But it's not the same as having 10,000 people in the hump yelling and screaming, or in the case there in Arkansas, it's a great home court in terms of the noise and the atmosphere that's created at Bud Walton. But I would imagine it's probably true across the country. I wouldn't say it's just our league. I'd say it's probably most leagues.
Yeah, road teams are 15 and 14, so not a huge difference, but that's got to be a much higher winning percentage, I think, than usual.
Yeah, it is. It is. One game over 5. I bet typically it's probably about 1/3 of them are won on the road if you went and looked back, but I'm just guessing.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Coach.
You bet.
We'll swing it over to David Murray. David, go ahead. Just a reminder, if you have any questions, just cue them up in the chat. David.
Coach, you've already played a series, I think 3 single possession games. They've gone both ways. Is that just the nature of a good team in a competitive league, that games are going to come down to a single possession most nights?
It seems that it comes down like that quite a bit for us this year. We've been in 2 double overtime losses, a 1-point loss the other night. We've won some close games, in the last minute. And, so we're obviously been competitive with everybody. And, the difference between winning and losing is very small margins. That's why we're always emphasizing every little thing in practice, every little detail, because it often comes down to just one possession, one more mistake, or one more made free throw, or one better possession, blocking out or rebounding. Every little detail matters, and that's something that our guys are learning firsthand.
And that kind of sets up the second question: is as much as you can coach guys in those situations, as much as they can face it, is it simply something guys, particularly ball handlers or decision makers, they can only learn by really doing it and failing and winning?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to that. Experience matters. And, my dad's favorite quote to me as a child was, "Benjamin, learn by doing." And there is truth to that. Learn by doing.
What did you learn by doing most from his advice?
Oh, it was a multitude of things. Learn to do my chores and not forget. Learn so many different things. But he loved to say that. He was a pastor. He was a minister. So there's probably something biblical in nature in that statement.
Thank you.
We'll swing it back to Columbus and John Sokoloff. John, go ahead.
Ben, everyone's always talked about this year Iverson and the leap that he's made, and you've mentioned it too. But he mentioned to us that he trains 3 times a day. And so I guess how much of a leader has he kind of developed as off the court? How well do the kind of other players respond to his type of off the court stuff? Does he kind of lead by example? Is he vocal? What kind of leader is he?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a lead by example guy, but he has great relationships with everybody. He's just a really nice young man. I mean, the guy's a great kid. He's very, pleasant. He's always, got a smile on his face. He's just, he's that type of kid. The glass is definitely half full. And he has a very positive, attitude, and that, exudes from his personality.